exactly is a niche?
Okay, good question. Because there's a lot that's been written on niche marketing, but in terms of comparing it with more established descriptions of markets, there really isn't any common definition for it, other than the fact that a niche is a group of individuals within a given market who have a particular set of wants and needs and are willing to make buying decisions based on that. So you could look at a larger market and you could break it down into all the sub-markets. Car industry is a good example of that. You know, you've got all these sub-markets in terms of different vehicles that people can buy, but if you're going to niche that market, what you really have to do is tap into the customer's mindset and find out what's important to them in the buying decision. Mm-hmm. That's what constitutes a niche. And that's why for so many small business owners, it can be really financially lucrative to get into this if you can figure out which one to select and how to understand what that customer wants. Because the wants are what drives the business decision or the decision to purchase. Mm-hmm. It's not always the cheapest price. In fact, very rarely is it that. Most of the time, consumers or if business to business or clients, what they're really looking for is this business set up to really provide me with the things that are most important to me. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand what they're looking for, regardless of what they're looking to purchase.
Let's take somebody like a plumber. So we all know, we open up the phone book, there's hundreds of thousands of plumbers out there, and God knows which one you're going to choose.
Right.
How does a plumber make himself stand out among all the other plumbers out there so you're going to choose him? How does he figure out his niche?
Okay. Plumbing, that's a great example, and I can talk to that very directly. But before I get into that, here's one of the main reasons why niche marketing is so important to small business owners. If you are in a category of business where there's lots of competition on it, there's lots of people to choose from, at some point you've got to figure out how to rise above the fray. Or you're going to be doing everything that everybody else does to try to attract, initial trial, getting customers, and that can be a real expensive proposition. So in the plumbing example, sure, people want somebody that's competent. They want somebody that is experienced, that's going to provide good service, that the price and the service are going to be commensurate. But if you start looking within that industry, and you start looking at it from the customer's perspective, what you find out is that a simple majority of the people that call plumbers and ask for service are women. And what many of them want are people that show up on time, and they're professionally dressed, and they don't smell like they were just crawling through a sewer pipe at the last job. Okay? So guess who's doing that today and doing it quite successfully? This company called Mike Diamond Plumbing. Right. And if you've ever heard that name before and you've heard his radio commercials, the only thing he leads with is his plumbers smell good and they show up on time. Yeah. And so that's niche marketing because he's going after a want element that the customer is interested in. I mean, they're already good, they're capable, they're licensed, they're going to do the job. But he's focusing his message on what they really are interested in as a measure of deciding whether they're going to pick him or pick somebody else.
The main points are, number one, can you identify a specific unmet need amongst that population that you can define clearly enough to market to? Remember, marketing is simply putting out a consistent wave of messaging to try to connect with a consumer who's going to identify with that and look at you as the best choice for what they're trying to buy over other available options. The second thing you have to look at, and here's where it kind of comes in for the business owner, is what you've decided to market to them a profitable enough product or service offering for you to make sense to do that. So in other words, most everybody that offers, services like, legal, video, things like that, you're going to have different things that you offer that have different profit margins to them. Okay. Which you don't want to look at your lowest profit margin item and niche that. You want to look at the top ones, because again, if you can figure out how to tap into that market and you understand what these people are really looking for, what they really want that is not being satisfied by the vast majority of people in that industry, and you can figure out how to message to them to the point where they really identify with what you're doing and why you're doing it, they will pay the value price that you put out there for that service because you've reached them at a deeper level. It's not just a matter of here I am and here's what I do and buy from me. there's almost no value in doing that anymore today because so many people are doing it. It's noise. Yeah. You really got to be able to cut through that by telling people something that it's going to wake them up and say, wow, I didn't know that there was somebody out there that did it that way. That's what I want.